This is the Best or Worst Podcast. And now, here are your hosts, Koji Stephen Sakai and M. Martin Mapoma.
All right, welcome. This is the Best or Worst Podcast. I am Martin.
And I am Koji.
And here we are at episode number 73. This is pretty awesome. 73, right, Koji?
Yeah, we're at 73.
Okay, just making sure. All right, our society is so focused on celebrity, we sometimes forget that regular people lead interesting lives too. Best or worst moment of your life. Host Koji Stephen Sakai.
That
is
me.
You. That's you. That's right. And M. Martin Mapoma, which is obviously me talking, are here to let your story out. We put people on the spot. What are you going to hear? It could be funny. It could be poignant. It even could be sad. You'll know and we know. Best or Worst Podcast is a twice weekly podcast. On Tuesdays, which is a while ago, we got to know our guests. And on Thursday, which is today, we find out your best or worst moment.
Right. And today we are speaking to Asif. He's a filmmaker, originally from Ohio, currently lives in Las Vegas with his family.
You got to say Asif Akbar.
Yeah. And then also he recently just shot The Commando, which is a movie that I helped write. Super excited to eventually see the cut. But this is the episode where we ask our guests the best or worst moment. Martin, I'll let you make the decision. But Asif, just as a heads up, when we ask people about the best or worst moment, we hope that it's not like when you met your wife or when you had your kids, because those are easy moments, right?
They are easy.
Those are going to be the moments that automatically are your best moments. So we get that, but we don't want you to get in trouble. And so
it has to be a moment, I feel like, where you can go to it instantly. Something that that's woven into the fabric of your life constantly, that you can always go back to. That to me is the best or worst moment. So Martin, that's what I feel.
So Martin, do you want to do the best or worst moment?
Drum roll. Worst moment.
Okay, so Asif, let's hear your worst moment of your life. What is it?
That's it, Koji?
That's it.
Man, worst moment, the one I can think of, the worst moment, I would say when I was here in LA the first day. It was it's a double-edged sword because it was like the best and worst moment where that I can think of, like when I first have to think of something. And I would say when I first moved out to LA, I didn't know anybody, and I was kind of over my head thinking, seeing it on TV and things, thinking, I could just, go out, make friends, or go out, find my way around. It's a big city. But I came and my apartment was in Northridge, in Zelza. It wasn't in the middle of the city or anything. And at that time, I got here, and the first day was cool. It was nice. And then the second day, I realized that the nearest even store to where I was like 5 miles away, and so I'm like, all right, I'm okay with some food and things for now. Tomorrow I'll go out and explore. So I go out in the afternoon. I go to a nice place to eat. I took the bus, obviously, and then I didn't realize that day the buses stop at like 6 p.m., coming back. And on the way there, I started thinking, okay, I can remember my way back. Worst case, I'll walk back. And so then, I started walking back. It got dark, and I thought I was going the right way, but then I got lost, obviously. And on my journey there was like the things I saw, and like with some homeless people, and just the area, it was like sketchy. There were a lot of things like I was just afraid, like, oh crap, what if I get attacked or what, and I don't make it home. So it was a journey for like 4.5 hours. I'd say probably over 5 hours actually. I just was walking around in circles and all over the place. And then finally I recognized like one of the streets, and then I made my way back. But at that time, like I was in a completely new city. I was young. I was like 18 years old, and I couldn't even call anyone. At that time, like I didn't know anyone to say, hey, can you come pick me up? This is where I am, or this. It was kind of like one of those moments I just got, came into the city and kind of had this crazy experience on my third night here. At that moment, I was thinking like, holy crap, did I make a mistake? This is like the worst thing happened. And obviously, I've had worse things happen, but if, that's one of the things where now looking back, I'm like, I'm glad that happened. But it's kind of like that thing where it's like the worst and best thing, because it was one of the best times of my life moving out. And it helped me go on this amazing journey since then, and where I don't really have any regrets, especially now looking back at, having such a beautiful daughter and everything. It's like, for me, I've always said I never want to have regrets when I get to my 30s and say, oh, I wish I would have done that when I was 18 or 20, 25. That's why I moved out when I graduated high school. 6 days later, I was old enough. I graduated high school. I felt free. I said, all right, I'm going to go out to LA and pursue my dreams. At least I can't say 10 years down the road that, hey, I wasted a day, and that day would have, maybe helped me make it or whatever. So at that time, like, I was even thinking that when I was walking, and it gave me a lot of time to think, right? I was walking for miles and miles and at night and going through places I've never seen. And it helped me, like, at 18 years old, like, think of a lot of things. And now looking back, I think of that moment, and it's like, wow, that was a powerful moment. It's like maybe getting lost helped me get to where I am today.
Wait, you moved to LA without a car? Is that what I'm
That's
hearing?
what I was. That's what I was thinking.
How
How do you?
Yeah,
How do you?
without a car. I thought it was gonna be like New York, where it's
Oh,
like, LA's a big city,
wow.
and it was like I learned that the hard way.
See,
And
I
then,
got to
so
tell
I
you,
bought a
man.
bike.
That's
I actually bought a bike the next day after this all happened. I went to Target, bought a bike, and then my bike got stolen.
Oh, no.
Like that same week. I locked it up outside and someone broke the lock and stole it. So then I'm like, all right, screw this. Another week later, I actually went and bought a car. And then, that's where I realized you can't live in LA without a car.
But my question for you is this: what made you think that living in LA wouldn't need a car? Because everybody knows that one.
No,
It's
he thought it was New York. He just said he thought it was like New York.
No, I know, but LA is
Yeah.
not like New York at all.
And I learned that the hard way later. But I thought it was like major. I was always told, oh, it's a major city like New York City, and I grew up around New York a lot. I used to go to New York every few months, and I loved New York. That was actually probably
New
would have
York's
been
awesome.
other place I would have moved to if I didn't move to LA. But in my head, I was always like, oh well, LA is a lot like New York. You have subways, you have public transport. At that time we didn't have Uber or Lyft, but I was like taxis and this, and I didn't even realize how expensive taxis were at the time. But I figured, okay, first couple months I'll be all right. Let me settle in and I'll buy a car and this and that. But I didn't realize you needed a car immediately, no matter what.
Yeah, you
And-
do.
In Ohio, so in Ohio, I assume you lived in like the suburbs, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
I lived
so,
in
like-
very,
So,
I mean, in
like,
Ohio, you wouldn't even leave that suburb. Like, it's like, like going to Cleveland, which was like 12 miles north. That was like going out of town, and we'd probably only go to Cleveland like every other month, or and like I
Wow.
barely went to Cleveland. It was so strange. And now going in LA, or even in Vegas, you go 10, 15 miles to even go, to the store or something, somewhere you want to go. It's crazy.
and so you
Wow.
said on the walk, you said you saw things that you'd never seen before. What kinds of things did you see? Do you remember any of the stuff that you saw?
Oh man, yeah. I mean, just homeless people doing we're in Cleveland where I grew up, there weren't too many homeless, but I saw like homeless people just doing drugs right out in the open and doing all kinds of stuff, going to the bathroom. And then at one point, like these group of guys were like following me,
Oh, sure.
through, and then so I had to like make detours and like make like just weird turns where I knew I didn't know where I was going, but I just had to
Oh,
like
jeez.
maneuver my way through, and I got even more lost doing that. So it's like always suspense. Like, and I had two incidents where I'm like, all right, is my life in danger now or what? And then I've seen a lot of like the MS-13 type of neighborhoods, and I was going through a sketchy I had one guy in a car that like stopped and looked at me, and then like he drove around and then came back again and was like driving slow next to me, and then and then it was weird, and then he drove off obviously. But it was like just those moments you're like you think
Jeez.
back to, especially being 18 and in this new city, you think of like the worst scenes you've seen in movies, like how they start,
Yeah.
and so to me, but now it's like, after, when I'm in LA, I see things like that, I'm just like, oh, it's another day in LA, I definitely got used to that. But, at that time it was like frightening. And I actually at one point thought like I wasn't going to make it home,
Well, did you-
so, but I got a lot of moments like that since, but that's just, one of the first times I've ever experienced that.
Did you regret on that walk? Did you regret moving? Did you think about that this was a mistake?
And there was one point, and what's cool about it though, like a few hours later after I was home and said and done, and I thought back to, I'm like, you know what, that wasn't so bad. It's like, I'll go on an adventure again tomorrow and see what happens, but it'll be during the day. So that kind of, in a way, like it was all kind of in the moments of thinking like, oh man, this was bad. Not even so much like I wish I didn't move. It was more like, you idiot, why didn't you just get a car? Or
Where was this again?
Northridge.
Where? Northridge?
Yeah.
It was I started off in Northridge, but then I went into Van Nuys, Reseda,
Okay.
that area, and then
Okay.
I ended up, around. It was like around the valley. I did a whole walk around.
How many miles do you think you walked?
I don't know. It was over 5 hours, like continuous walking.
Wow.
So
Oh,
it
Jesus.
could be a few miles, at least several miles.
No, that's like
There's a movie
There
like
was
that. There's a movie like that. There's a movie like that where the guy he had to walk through all these neighborhoods going back.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Oh, it was Falling Down with Michael.
That was a totally different movie, dude.
No, just about walking through different neighborhoods trying to get home. Just that's what it reminded me of.
Oh, did in that movie? Didn't he get out of the car and just leave his car and?
Yeah, I just started walking.
Because
And
it
it
was
was like,
yeah, that was a terrible movie. I hated that movie. That's like me. That's like me in New York. I was in New York, and I was staying with somebody in the hood, and I had to walk through like neighborhoods I was not used to walking, and I was like,
New York worse, I would say, than LA.
Yeah.
I mean
New
LA's
York is
got
way more clicky.
Yeah. But I mean, now, I mean, I hate to say that was like the worst day of my life. In a way, in hindsight, it wasn't too bad. But again, like I was saying, in the moment, it was one of those times, like in one night, within 4 or 5 hours span, like all the emotions that went through my head of like fear and being scared and just like regrets and things like that. It was all in one like quick moment. That like think back to now, and there was a lot of life lessons in that one small period of time.
And what did you learn from that experience? You think? What is that? What have you taken away from that now? Like when you think about it now, so many years later.
Now, I mean, I would say the biggest lesson was to not assume things, without really double checking and knowing. Like, I should have known the bus schedule. I should have, known exactly where I was going and map. And obviously, like with technology now, it's so much easier. We have everything in the palm of our hands. If that would have happened, that would have never happened today with smartphones, with Uber, Lyft, with everything. Like, at that time, I had to like manually like go online. I couldn't even really do it on my phone. Like, I had to go actually on the computer, print out or write down directions and map quest it. And then, just kind of, I did things like that, but I should have been more prepared of knowing where I'm going and how to get back.
Yeah.
And then just overall, like, just being a little bit more organized since then. Like, after that, I was like extra organized, like with double, triple backups of, like if I did MapQuest, I would go on, Yahoo Maps too, or, Google Maps and do double, triple directions or another way, like alternative routes or alternative options of, bus routes. So like that helped me become more careful, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's something like now thinking back would never happen today. Like that's an incident. If I was lost or anything happened, you know, you just go on your phone or call a Lyft.
Yeah, that was a different time. I remember when I was 18, or 17, I was dating this girl, and they would rent this house, their like side house, and the mom was like she was a hustler, and she would rent to anybody. And I remember she'd rent to people like that were like, it was in Pasadena. She'd rent to people that were students at UCLA. And I'd be like, why did your mom tell them anything? And she's like, I don't care. Like, they don't know. And because that's like an hour and a half drive from Pasadena to LA. And I'm like, dude, why would you do that? You don't have to tear, like they should be seeing like Santa Monica or Westwood, right? Not like Pasadena. Yeah. And I just remember, but that's a different time where you couldn't just right check it and know right away that's a tough drive.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's a totally different time. Well,
Yep.
Steve, it was really great. It was really great to have you on the show. Thank you so much for your time. Martin, do you want to close out the show, or you want me to close out the show?
You can close it out.
Well, just like last episode, we'd love to have you guys tell a friend about our show. So go on, tell them about our show. Go by pointing them to www.bestOrWorstPod.com, where we have all our episodes. You can see it. You can see our videos. You can listen to our audio. It's all on there. You can find out a little bit about Martin and myself. And otherwise, we're really excited. So thank you, Martin, again. And thank you, Steve, again. Really love having you guys on.
Yeah.
My pleasure. Thank you, Martin. Thank you, Koji. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
A lot of fun.
And thank you, everyone, for listening. Peace out.
Peace.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye. Bye-bye.